There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. Good morning, honorable members. Apologies for the delay. Unfortunately, we are using a small plenary. It gives us a challenge of sitting arrangements, but at least now we've arranged that everyone is seated in their correct place. The secretary will read the order.
Debate on vote number 37, Sport, Arts and Culture Appropriation Bill.
The Honorable the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture to open the debate. And as a result, it is his maiden speech.
House Chairperson, Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Honorable Peace Mabe, Ministers and other Deputy Ministers here present, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Sport, Arts and Culture, Honorable Joseph Maglua, Honorable Members, Chairpersons and Chief Executives of public entities, distinguished guests, Khoisan leaders, the President of SASCOC, President of ASA, Presidents of all cultural organizations. As I start, I would like to tell you about the power of sport, arts and culture. Living just a few houses from me was a young man who dedicated himself to sport. While we both had talent, I chose gangsterism and a life of crime, and he chose sport. That boy was Willem Jackson, and he ended up playing for Bafana Bafana at the FIFA World Cup. Sport took Ashwin Willems out of a life of gangsterism, and he became the world's best rugby player 20 years ago. The arts in our country have always been seen as less important than sport, but we dare not accept that. I come from the Khoi and the San people who have been discriminated against. Many have tried to rob them of their history, but the paintings that they left on rock walls stand as testimony to this day and as the title deed. So art is timeless, art is truth. When our freedom fighters were locked up, people were banned, and our voices were suppressed. The voices of Hugh Masekela, Miriam Makeba, and Jonas Gwangwa told the world through song that it is not yet Uhuru in South Africa. Music could go when Nelson Mandela could not. This is the power of arts and culture. When we saw the Paralympians this month, many saw a team of people with disabilities. I saw a group of inspirational people who could rise above their personal circumstances. KG Monchani won the women's wheelchair doubles trophy at Wimbledon on Sunday. And that is a reminder that we as South Africans, we can and often do rise above whatever circumstances are to achieve, if you want to achieve greatness. Other highlights this year include the recognition of the Springboks, many achievements at the South African Sports Awards 2024, while Kirsten Nishafer won Sportswoman of the Year for triumphing in the Golden Globe race. She was the first ever woman to win any round-the-world sailing race and was awarded Sportswoman of the Year. We shall continue to showcase our South African sports stars. Jasmine Solomons won the pool championship. She's a world champion, a young lady from Bonteheuwel, a stone's throw from here. As I said, we shall continue to showcase our South African sports stars by also hosting the Ministerial Outstanding Sports Performance Accolades, the Andrew Mlangeni Green Jacket Award, and the G-Sport Award for that honor women in sport. House Chair, we need to give our young people every opportunity to shine and win awards themselves. My predecessor in the department, Honorable Zizi Kodwa, rightly recognized that our school sports system is fragmented and split among government-supported programs, federations, and private schools. Private schools are the only schools in South Africa that has sports for the children. And that is a fact that many of us don't want to hear. The kids of poor people, only 8% of all kids in South Africa, school-going age, are involved in school sport. The former minister held the school sports in Daba that resolved that a comprehensive blueprint for school sports should be developed. We must take this forward with a new delivery model to be implemented. So school sport is one of the #1 things on our agenda. We will be reaching out to the Department of Basic Education to bring back physical education as a standalone subject at schools. We will also need a new national oversight body for school sport with support from DSEC, the DBA, SASCOC, to create one seamless system for the development of sports in schools. The most $3 million is set to be transferred to a targeted 50 national sports nation sub-program. House Chair, let me be clear. We are also prioritizing arts and culture throughout our country, including in our schools. Over the medium term, 1.2 billion is being allocated to the Mzansi Golden Economy sub-program in arts and culture, promotion and development. These funds will be used, Madam Chair, will be used to create more than 60,000 job opportunities in the cultural and creative sector. Of this allocation, 69.4 million is earmarked for placing more than 1,000 artists in schools over the next 3 years, with the aim of developing and improving art teaching and skills. The presidential employment stimulus was launched in October 2020 to mitigate the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic across all sectors. Thus, the program reached into creative industries realized through the creative industry stimulus, which is allocated 351 million in 2024-2025 to create about 30,000 jobs. Our recreation development and sports program has an allocation of 4.1 billion over the MTF period. Of this amount, 1.2 billion is within the infrastructure support sub-program, and 1.9 billion is channeled to the mass participation and sports development grant. The grant supports programs such as the Move for Health Day, the National Indigenous Games Festival, our National Recreation Day, which will be integrated with the Big Walk, the Nelson Mandela Sports and Culture Day, and various outreach programs, including my own as the minister. No discipline will be ignored in our department, including stick fighting and other indigenous games will be treated with the respect that they deserve. The Kaapse Klopse will no longer be treated as an irritant because we know firsthand the importance and the important role that the Kaapse Klopse is playing. We will be recognizing also the distinctly South African mix of culture and heritage. Guma music, which was sang by our people during their hardest times, is a genre that is dying. Guma music shall be revived. We shall help Guma music not to die out. The grant enables provincial departments responsible for sports and arts and culture to offer development and support programs for talented and high-performance athletes. Accordingly, 56.8 million is allocated to encourage the development of young people through supporting 90 school sport leagues at the district level, and 80.9 million is allocated to enable 4,000 of them to highlight their skills at events such as the National School Sports Championship. An estimated 53.1%, which comes up to 2.2 billion, of the Recreation Development and Sports Promotion Program budget over the next 3 years is within the Active Nations sub-program. In 2024-2025, 40.2 million is allocated for supporting 90 organized community-based sport and recreation activities, and 78.4 million is allocated to provide sports equipment and clothing to schools, hubs, and clubs to enable participation in sport and recreation. It cannot be when our children are competing with private schools, then our children should worry about how they look. Each province will be running athlete development programs for emerging high-performance athletes over the medium term. Allow me to mention, House Chair, that as the new minister, I'm encouraged that the department has responded so warmly to my personal enthusiasm for emerging motorsport of spinning. Spinning shall be recognized, formalized, professionalized with the assistance of this department. The department is committed to upskilling and transforming the sport, arts and culture sector. This involves building capacity through bursaries, internships and incubator programs. Over the medium term, 150 million is allocated to support 66 capacity building projects in the cultural and creative sector. 16.7 million is allocated in the National Language Services sub-program in arts, culture, promotion and development to award language bursaries to 420 university students. Language is important. I met with the Tal Museum management yesterday, House Chair, and I assured them that Afrikaans will take its rightful place amongst all other languages. Afrikaans will not be treated as it is currently being treated. Afrikaans is the language of the people that are the second most population-wise in South Africa. And I gave them the assurance that I will make sure that Afrikaans is not being treated better than any other language, but it will not be treated worse than any other language. An estimated 45.1%, which is 8.4 billion, of the department's budget over the medium term is within heritage promotion and preservation. Of this amount, 5 billion is earmarked for the Community Library Services grant through the Public Library Service sub-program. We have to help the Department of Basic Education. We have children that can't read, that have reached the age of 11. We must not ignore that. We will make sure that we spend money when it comes to helping our children to read properly. Reading properly is one of the biggest aims that we intend with the Community Library Services grant. And 2.1 billion is set to be transferred to museums for the operations through the Heritage Institution sub-program. The department has a number of key heritage projects still under development, some more successful than others, which we shall be visiting and in an attempt to better understand the circumstances. We'll financially support the South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport and ensuring that commitments to the World Anti-Doping Agency and the Regional Anti-Doping Agency are upheld annually. Boxing South Africa. South Africans love boxing, and Boxing South Africa as a public entity for this department will continue to be supported by us and regulated while we work to boost this sport, particularly by making its practitioners more independent and to return our boxers to being global stars. We'll also be providing accessible infrastructure to communities by constructing more community gyms and play parks, as well as multi-purpose sports courts. It cannot be that there's an area where children are and there's no play park. It cannot be. We are going to make sure that that is a thing of the past. House Chair, there are numerous vacant posts in the department, which have in effect been managed for practical reasons through hiring contract workers to perform essential roles and tasks. Some of this is a legacy from the merger of the former Department of Sport and Department of Arts and Culture. But this administration must now bed down these changes permanently and coherently. We're addressing this matter as we'd like to see the vacancies eliminated and competent people given the assurance of full-time employment in sports, arts, and culture. The position of the Director General remains vacant and is amongst other prioritized positions to be filled by this financial year. This year, the department will finalize the organizational design project that was started in the prior year. Finally, this department will be resuming its role of repatriating the remains of numerous fallen struggle soldiers in other African countries. My mother saw a brother the last time he went to Angola. My mother died a broken woman because we don't know what happened to our beloved Uncle Joe. And I've made it a mission that the mothers, the brothers, and the sisters of the fallen heroes that are buried in Zimbabwe, Lusaka, and other parts of the world shall be returned, because I don't want them to die like my mother died. So that work will continue. Finally, as I close, I would like to reflect on something that's on everybody's lips.
Honorable Minister, I would really like you to, 5 seconds.
5 seconds. All right. I'll answer this in a question, but I just want to say that South Africa is a great country with great people. We've got people like Tyler, people like McKenzie, people like Tasneem Solomons. I hereby table the budget for 2024-2025 financial year. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister. I will now invite ANC, Honorable Khabe. I'm told it's also his maiden speech. Yeah, so let us be kind, please.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Let me also take this opportune moment to forward my greetings to your good self. But before getting into issues, my name is Gaulad. Gaulad. The surname is Khabo. So I wanted to correct it before. Yes, it's Gaulad Khabo. It's one name. Let me also take this opportunity to forward my greetings to you, Honorable House Chair, Honorable Minister. Indeed, we are together. For a minute, I thought that you will speak of Capsedans, but be it as it may be, we are together, we agree. Chairperson of the committee, the sports fraternity, the host Sarona, members of the media, and borrowing from the president, fellow South Africans, receive my revolutionary greetings. I'm extremely excited, as you have indicated, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair, that this is my maiden speech. But what excites me the most is the fact that I'll be speaking about a topic that is very close to my heart, especially to the heart of many South Africans many young people living in South Africa. The amazing work in our sports, arts, and culture sector, this is just about policy. This is not just about policies. This is not just about budget. It's about transforming communities and creating an awesome future together. Many moons ago, President Nelson Mandela stated that sports has the power to change the world. But I want to advance something today that indeed we have seen music bringing people together. We have seen Tyler, we have seen Amapiano, we have seen a number of young people demonstrating that through music we can be together and forge a united country. Despite all efforts towards transformation and social justice, South Africa remains one of the most divided nations. Considering the strides we have made, apparently sports, arts, and culture has been the beacon of hope that unites South Africa despite the race and social status. But this as it may be, there is a need to bring to the fore and maximize the exposure of other social initiatives, especially music, specifically Amapiano, like I've indicated, that has grown at an unprecedented speed, bringing people together from different races and classes. But before I land, Chair, let me also join you, Gender Minister, in congratulating McKenzie and Tyler for scooping the BET Awards. That is basically a demonstration that indeed, as a country, we are able to forge ahead. First up, let's talk about the bigger picture. The 2024 budget is about economic recovery and renewal. And we are putting a huge focus on sports, arts, and culture. We believe that sports can be a game changer for social and economic development. Imagine this, Honorable Chair, including yourself, Honorable Minister, communities coming together to share public space and enjoy national and World Cup games. But not a World Cup games where we've seen other sporting codes being treated as bigger than others. We are not here to entertain little brother and older brother in terms of sporting codes. And by supporting these events, Honorable Chair, including the Minister, we are not just having fun. We are building a strong bonds and social cohesion. Imagine how cool it is. To us, we have seen that sports, art, and culture can contribute to the triple challenges that are facing young people. It can resolve issues of unemployment, can resolve issues of inequality, including the issues of poverty, through advancing the art or promoting their capabilities. And in addition, Honorable Minister, the Creation, Development and Sports Promotion Program is getting a whopping 4.1 billion over the next years. But this 4.1 billion, it must be felt on the ground. We need to understand that many of our young people who are residing in villages, who are residing in townships, are not getting an opportunity of getting access to these funds. I'm saying it cannot be right that we'll only come here and lip service, not really dealing with real issues on the ground. And as a young person hailing from the dusty streets of Utlwanang in Christiana, in the Northwest, Honorable Minister, come from the Northwest, I fully understand that sports and culture, apart from achieving nation building and social cohesion, it can create jobs, like I've indicated. It can resolve issues of unemployment and inequality. We've got 15 community dialogue platforms lined up for 2024-2025 financial year, costing about 3 million. These platforms are all about getting active citizen involvement and diverse community engagement. Plus, over the next few years, we are rolling out 20 annual advocacy programs or platforms on social cohesion, featuring some of the South African most aspiring figures. The initiative will cost around 15 million, but the impact of, we've got to move for Health Day, the National Indigenous Games Festival, the National Recreation Day, which will be paired with the Big Walk, and the Nelson Mandela Sports and Arts and Culture Day. That's just to name a few, apart from the ONS Kapse Dance ONS Baizani arrangement, Honorable Minister. We are also committed to supporting our high-performance athletes so that they can shine on the international stage, but also dealing, of course, with the racial imperatives within our department. It can't be right. It can't be right. We only promote a certain sports code over others. By 2025, we want to help the Sports Federation hit their transformation targets and to keep our sports sector ethical and clean. We are begging the South African Institute for Drug-Free and Sport staying true to the commitment of anti-doping agencies. But the anti-doping agencies must not be used to stifle development, particularly from those who are historically disadvantaged, and in particular, coming from villages and small dorpies. When it comes to the arts and cultural diplomacy, our artists will get a chance to connect with the international market and get a top-notch training abroad. The Mzansi Golden Economy Program is here to boost our local artists and help them access bigger markets. We've got 15 projects planned annually focusing on community arts and national, provincial, flagship and creative industry. This means more visibility and opportunities for our artists and more growth for our economy, like I've indicated, Honorable Minister. We are aiming to create 60,390 job opportunities in the cultural and creative sector. With almost 69.4 million set aside, we will place 1,020 artists in school over the next 3 years. This will help them to develop their skills and work closely. As I wrap up, Chair. In short, sports and arts and culture is more than just a pastime. There's a vitality in terms of economy from the communities. Today's budget shows that our commitment to supporting this sector, driving economy and creating fantastic opportunities. With that being said, Honorable Chair, apologies, and we support the budget vote.
Thanks. Before I call on the next honorable member from the DA, I want to alert all honorable members. On your right-hand side, there's a screen here that is allocated the time that you are given. So it is only at my discretion that I give you 5 seconds or so. Please do not abuse me with my 5 seconds and then you want me to add 15 seconds on that. I'm just giving you so that you wrap up. But on your right-hand side, everyone must know there's a screen that has a time that is allocated to each member. So can we keep to that? Not that it will be disadvantageous on the next speaker, but I'm just saying and alerting all honorable members so that we move with one pace. Thank you very much. I will now invite the DA, Honorable Maglua. And I'm told it's your maiden speech. In this department, maybe in this department it is your maiden speech.
No, I've been here 2010. It's my maiden speech as a chair. Chairperson, the Sports, Arts and Culture is mandated to provide leadership to oversee the development and management of sport, arts and culture in South Africa, and mainly so to improve South Africa's international ranking. We have, under very unusual circumstances, interrogate and discuss the departments of Sports, Arts and Culture's 2020 to 2025 strategic plan, the 2024 to 2025 annual performance plan, including its budget following recommendations by the Portfolio Committee. Minister, this department have a budget of more than 6 billion, of which 80% of it goes to for implementation of sport, arts and culture development and promotion. The concern we have, contrary to team sport, is the lack of sponsorship by corporate South Africa for individual sports such as tennis, swimming, boxing, bowling, bodybuilding, and golf. One thing corporate South Africa has managed was to sponsor team sport. Minister, we need a paradigm shift in the sports fraternity, and entities should not rely on government alone for sponsorship. Minister, in your hometown, the National Training Center in Bloemfontein was meant to be a high-performance sports facility to provide scientific support and optimal training conditions for athletes across South Africa. The project was initiated by this very Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, where each of the 9 provinces contribute a 10% of its annual budget towards the construction of the facility until its completion. Funds were allocated to this project, Minister, but it appears that there is no tangible outcomes. I am inviting both you, Minister, and the committee to go and see for yourself, do some oversight, and see whether this project is completed. I doubt it. South Africa is a country rich in talent, and as you have said, Minister, there is a lack of efforts to discover and also to identify the nature and to nurture these talents. Consequently, many talented athletes and artists often goes unnoticed and are lost within our system. The department should establish a nationwide talent identification programs, outreach initiatives where we regularly scout for talent in various fields, including sport and arts. The department should forge partnership links with schools to identify and support talented students. Minister, you raised something about a big walk. In our meeting, you were the one who said, let's exercise every day. My view on the big walk is a one-day event. It does not yield sufficient economic return on investment. We have Love Life, as we discussed in our meeting as well. I think they perhaps should do what they have to do. The committee's desire is that the department needs to pay special attention to the Mzansi Golden Economy because the fund is meant to support artists. This is important because the world is talking about new gold. For example, it's a cultural creative industry. In 2018, the South African Cultural Observatory reported that the CCIs created more job opportunities than mining. We need to realize this economic potential. The Artists in Schools program needs serious attention. The program assists schools with the teaching and learning of arts. I'm also inviting members to go to some of these schools and go and see for yourself whether there is enough teachers with the knowledge of this particular subject. You will be surprised how children rather being invited outside the class to play upscotch. Minister, if this department at least identified to us 10 learners with artistic abilities at a very young age, I will be the first to apologize. The notion and perception that mathematical science is more important than arts is absurd. Program 4 has serious challenges insofar infrastructure is concerned. We must promote, celebrate, preserve the South African heritage. I have raised concern in the meeting about the role of Brand South Africa to promote and protecting our past. Pinnacle Point, just here, close to us in Mossel Bay, one of the origins of human behavior 45,000 years ago, has been nominated as one of the World Heritage Sites with a huge tourism potential. People spend thousands on these heritage sites. Nothing has been said. And within 10 days, people are traveling to deal with this particular issue. Chairperson, it is no more business as usual for us. We are funding entities who are fighting lawsuits with monies allocated to them to develop school sports and other related sports. They are spending millions on books procurement when they report to us and during these previous financial years. The list is long, Minister. School of Excellence, who has produced the Benny McCarthy and the Stephen Pinars of this world, is closing literally down. Too much for transformation and social cohesion. And if you ask MTN why they don't want to get involved in sponsorship anymore, they cited mismanagement of funds. My plea, honorable members, let us utilize this committee. Let us utilize this system. Let us utilize our oversight power that we have to bring justice to the sporting fraternity in South Africa. The minister so far has done well in this regard. Infrastructure challenges are not only a challenge to libraries, but to museums and galleries too. Last year, the Auditor General reported that Enyokeni project and Sarah Bartman Center of Remembrance remain incomplete due to contractual disputes. This is a slap in the face after 8 years of negotiations and a vote by the French Senate having Sarki Bartman's remains repatriated in South Africa. Having engaged with the department minister and its APP, I recommend to the House that we consider budget vote 37. I thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. I will now call upon MK, Honorable Mpele.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, Honorable Minister and Deputy Minister, ladies and gentlemen, Tumelang Sanbonani, and Macharoni, Action, and all other South African languages. Today, we are gathered in this esteemed Parliament of deliberation on matters that profoundly impact on our communities, especially we turn our attention to the Department of Sports and Culture, a department that holds immense potential to uplift our people. Sorry. Yeah, first of all, I'm going to talk about, I'll go straight to the budget, Chairperson. In terms of the budget, we've got a budget of the department that, according to me, I feel that it is not striking the balance. As we recognize that the budget allocated should serve as a powerful tool, one of the that addresses the multifaceted needs of our citizens. It should not merely be a financial document, but a commitment to the well-being of our communities. We hope and pray that this budget will be inherently biased towards the most vulnerable amongst us, those residing in rural areas and in the township. Chairperson, in terms of the budget, what I have just checked here, we've got about 3 programs in our department. The other one is sports. The other one it's culture. The other one is sports. The other one is arts and culture, and then the other one is the heritage. Now, on those imbalances, what I'm checking in terms of the budget, there's 1.2 billion in terms of the sports. According to me, the sports is supposed to be receiving at least a minimal budget, and especially based on its activities, that seems to enhance the talent of the community. And then you've got your arts and culture as your arts as well. That is supposed to be receiving a better budget. And then if you can just check in terms of the last program, it's about 2.1, which is the bigger. Always, it has been a trend that vote always is receiving more budget, more than these other locations. And then in terms of the rethinking of the priorities, while the budget table provides to snapshot of financial allocation, it also raises critical questions. Notable, the heritage program consistently receives a larger share than sports and arts. However, we contend that the sports and arts play a pivotal role in our society. And then if we talk about that, Chairperson, we believe that the budget must address the issues of the community, but it should also start at a very early age, where kuma creche and also equals ukula kuma primaries. That is where actually when you build what you call this impact, it starts with those areas within talent and expression that allows individual express their inmate talent, whatever it's a budding athlete or an inspiring artist. These programs, Nature Potential, National Sports South African hosts numerous sporting events and celebration and celebrates its rich artistic heritage. Those cultural expressions deserve robust backing. In advocating for a rebalancing of priorities, we don't seek to diminish heritage programs. Instead, we emphasize the need to allocate resources where they can have the most significant impact. Let's ensure that sports and arts receives the attention and funding that is rightfully deserved. Non-existent department, regrettable. It seems that this department has been relegated to the margins and afterthought rather than a priority. Those entrusted with its leadership often appear as mere placeholders thrown into their roles without the necessary support of recognition. Yet, let us not forget that this department plays a pivotal role in shaping our nation's development, identity and collective psyche. The vital role of sports and culture, sports, arts and culture are not mere luxury. They are essential components of our shared existence. They contribute to our physical and mental well-being, foster creativity, and strengthen social bonds. They provide a solid during difficult times and inspire us to dream beyond our budding athlete and inspiring artists. These programs, Nature Potential. Chairperson, the first thing that I'm going to say is that I will only support the budget that will be talking to the development of a child from the rural area. I will only support a program that will make sure that from the early childhood, the children are developed at that stage from the creche, and they are developed at a primary level until at a higher level. I will, from the rural areas for that matter, and the township, that is where I will make sure that I support that budget. And I will only support the budget that is talking to the real issues, and especially the issues of the games that are played in the communities. We are talking about the games like your indecent games, which are not taken into consideration. So if this budget is going to be addressing anything that has to do with the community, not the community at a certain area, not to be, but it must be biased in terms of your townships, in terms of your rural areas. So until then, when I see the kids not playing in the dust, until then, I will support that budget. And I will only support the budget that is also creating some job opportunities. I won't support a budget that is going to be taken to the bigger sports, where maybe you'll find that there are other sports where they are funded all over with the private sectors and everything. But at the end of the day, the budget, it's not biased to the people that are unable to can get any funding anywhere, or who cannot even afford their grounds. If you can go to the township as we speak, you will find that there's a lot of, there are no facilities. There's no right infrastructure that is going to enable our children to can play there. You will only find those infrastructures in the areas that are not there. With those words, my chairperson, as MK, we're not going to support this budget until that time.
Thank you. I forgot to say that it was her maiden speech. I will now invite EFF, Honorable Mukwena.
Thank you, Chair. I'm told it's also my debut speech. Thank you, Chair. And greetings to the leadership of the Progressive Caucus. Chair, I'm a little bit worried because it seems like we're going back to the culture of reducing this department to events when there are overarching issues of streamlining sectors and the purposes of this department. It worries me because there's a huge task ahead of us in terms of fixing the department and fixing the sector. So just to give a perspective, so we have 11 disciplines just in the creative arts and culture sector, 11, over 11. We have 10 sporting codes and indigenous sporting codes that you've also spoken about. We have 28 state-owned entities, and a lot of them are dysfunctional, despite what we were told last week. A lot of them are dysfunctional, so we need to fix them. We have 3,000 libraries, over 3,000 libraries, and more that we still have to build in the rural areas and in the townships. So there's a lot more to be done, right? There's more than 300 museums and more that we still need to build. We have more than 15,000 schools in which we still have to build facilities for sporting and recreation that you mentioned earlier on. But more than this, these sectors and sporting codes that we're talking about, most of them are unregulated and untransformed. So there's a lot of work to be done there. A lot of people talk about social cohesion, but I don't think we've ever really understood what social cohesion means. And we probably need to unpack the meaning of it, but we have failed dismally at achieving social cohesion because racism seems to have come back full force in our society. On top of that, we have a peculiar situation in this country in which we have a so-called national anthem that still bears the hallmarks of apartheid. And in a situation in which we've gotten rid of the flag, the apartheid flag, it's peculiar that we get rid of the flag, but we keep the anthem. The two go together. They go together. You raise the flag so that you can sing the anthem. It is impossible for us to get rid of the one and then keep the other. The distem needs to go. It is not to say we need to get rid of Afrikaans. We can find a replacement of Afrikaans, but distem needs to go. It is offensive. It needs to go. But let me give a background. Let me give a background
Honorable members, please can we not drown the speaker, please.
But let me give a background of the task that lies ahead in front of us, Deputy Minister and Minister. So back in 2005, African heads of state and their ministers of arts and culture came together in Nairobi in Kenya. The purpose was to map a way forward for the arts and culture, what they then coined the creative economy, to map a way forward for it. And at the end of that summit, South Africa was one of the delegations in that meeting. At the end of that meeting, they penned down a document called the 2005 Nairobi Plan of Action. It's a thick document, but a very important document. The Nairobi Plan of Action outlined the resolutions and recommendations of the summit for heads of state to go back to their countries and implement. Nigeria went back and implemented those recommendations. This was between 2005 and 2013. In 2013, when they recalibrated the way they calculate their GDP, Nigeria became the #1 economy in Africa, right? And toppled South Africa and Egypt, I think it was. And they told us that one of the contributors to this newfound growth was the creative economy. Meanwhile, in South Africa here, the creative economy was collapsing, and it fell back into the hands of the white minority. Now, we are not in control of those sectors. Your own department, if you ask them now, your own department cannot quantify how many people we are employing in the sectors that fall under your department. Because your department is not capable of doing that. Why? Because it's not regulated. So your department released a document called the CCI Master Plan, I think it was 2022. And that document tried to give numbers in terms of employment and GDP contributions and so on and so forth.
Honorable Mkwena, unfortunately your time has expired.
Okay, let me just say, Minister, the task is huge. The culture is not just about events, it's not just about sports, it's not just about music events, it's about an entire society. That's why it's called social cohesion. But we'll unpack a little bit more about
yes, please.
What that
The
means.
time
Thank you
is
very much.
expired now. I will now invite the IFP, Honorable Nkosi Luthuli.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Greetings to Honorable Minister and the Deputy Minister, Honorable Chairperson of the committee, and the committee as large. It has been 30 years since the dawn of our democracy. While we have made a significant strides as a nation, we could do far more if only our government was willing to uphold its core mandate and bettering the lives of our people. The Department of Sport, Art and Culture has unfortunately been plagued by a scandal after scandal from the former ministers with a tarnishing reputation due to illegal and corruption, serious claims and maladministration and mismanagement. This department has structured the department's operations are marked by the unauthorized, irregular, and fruitless and wasteful expenditure, while the state of our artists and youth remains dismal. Our children in township and rural areas lack the sporting infrastructure needed to keep them engaged and out of the trouble, yet the department's responsibility for addressing these needs has failed dismally. It is its duty to ensure that all the children have adequate access. In rural areas, many talented young people are unable to participate in sport due to the absence of the adequate facility. As the IFP, we strongly advocate for increased funding to build and upgrade sport facilities in these unserved regions. The lack of sports field and similar facilities in the rural areas compared to urban centers in a pressing issue. We urge the department to conduct a thorough audit identify municipality in an urgent need of people infrastructure and to address these gaps. School sport remaining vital entry point for youth engagement, and we are deeply concerned about ensuring the continued integration into the school curriculum. We firmly believe that finding quality sport opportunity for young people and not only enhance their development but also foster social capital, community health and responsible citizenship. Honorable Chair, each year the minister in this department make promises during budget debate.
Honorable
Yet,
Nkosi
little,
Mthuli, isikhathi sesiphelile. You can say maybe whether you support or not. I can give you the opportunity to say
I
that.
support.
Let's give. We'll now invite PA, Honorable Sols, and I'm told that it's your maiden speech. So let us be kind.
Honorable House Chair, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable members in South Africa at large. Also, in the expression of my faith, I want to greet everyone in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Also, in my original Aboriginal language, Ngoinke Auniki, Goeiemorgen Alma. Honorable House Chair, as the Patriotic Alliance, we want to emphatically state that we fully support the budget, and we are extremely proud and know that the Minister is going to ensure, together with the Deputy Minister and his team, that the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture will be achieved for all South Africans. We want to emphasize as well the base of our party, colored people in this country who has felt marginalized in sports, arts and culture. To emphasize this, Honorable Minister, I want to remind the country of the prestigious event on the 19th of June, the inauguration of our president, where all cultures and all languages were celebrated on the day, allowed to walk the red carpet, but the Khoisan king, one of the kings, in the garden of the Union buildings, was left outside at the gate and was not invited to the inauguration, yet he was just steps away. We have Her Majesty the Queen, Oma Katrina, who's 93 years old, still fighting for the original new language to be recognized, but she's still left at the gate. Her son, Prince Titus, has served this country as a reservist in the South African Police Service, but he is still left at the gate. But at the dawn of the Minister, whom I consider a game changer, together with your team, we are excited that now the gates are about to open. We're excited that the gates are about to open for colored young people like Little Rosario, who's a karate champion, and the international hip-hop champion from El Dorado Park, Jonathan Retief. We are excited because we know that even for young people here in Cape Town, artists like Dupe and Michael Palmer and the Temple Boys, the gates will open for them. We are excited that the likes of script writers, local, like in Ennerdale, Calvin Hugo and Volante Bosch, that gates will open. We are extremely excited and we are confident, Honorable Minister, that you are going to ensure that through the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture, you are going to ensure that finally the Bushman motto on our coat of arms will be realized. That says, Ti etare te. And like we will say in the PA, ons het gelandela, moenie byzani. Salute.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I will now call Freedom Fund Plus, Honorable Mulder.
Geachtbare voorsitter, geachtbare minister, dit is 'n besondere dag vandag en dit is my werklik 'n voorreg om vir u as minister te verwelkom in hierdie departement. Op Vrydag die 14de Junie, tydens die verrigtinge by die Kaapstadse Konvensiesentrum, het u tydens 'n toespraak toe die president geluk gewens is, het u die parlement in u vertroue geneem en met hulle gedeel u agtergrond, waar u vandaan kom, en wat u omstandighede was, en vir almal 'n les geleer, dat 'n mens kan uitstyg uit die omstandighede uit, en die hoogste sport bereik, en vandag sit u hier as 'n minister, en ons respekteer u in daardie verband. Ek het geleer as 'n kind, dat een mens, man of 'n vrou, kan 'n verskil maak op die regte oomblik en op die regte tyd. En u is in daardie posisie om daardie verskil te maak, en ek sê vir u baie sterkte en baie voorspoed op hierdie pad. U is ook die enigste minister van al die ministers in Suid-Afrika, ons het omtrent 77, wat u hele salaris besluit het om te skenk aan liefdadigheid. En ek dink dit is absoluut merkwaardig, ek dink u stel 'n voorbeeld, en dit sal interessant wees om te sien of enigiemand anders u sal volg in daardie verband. Die departement wat u het van sport, kuns en kultuur, is 'n besondere departement. Iemand mag maar dink, dis nie belangrik nie, dit is wat my betref die belangrikste departement. Hoekom is dit die belangrikste departement? Sport, arts and culture is the most important department in this government. Why? All the other departments will fail if we don't have harmony amongst the people of South Africa. If the people of South Africa lives in conflict, other departments will not succeed. That is what it's about. And it brings me to the whole question of nation building. Sport plays a very important role in nation building, we all know that. But my view is that that's the wrong recipe. Sport assists, but sport alone will not sufficiently bring nation building and social cohesion. And I can give you long examples of that, we'll get to that one day. Why? We really need to go forward in terms of what our motto says, unity in diversity, and respect the diversity in that sense, also to accommodate the diversity in South Africa. And that's where arts and culture comes in. If people feel that their culture is respected, if their arts are respected, they feel accommodated and they will move out and reach out to others in South Africa as well. Daarom is dit geweldig belangrik. Daar's geweldige verwagtinge op die departement. Daar's geen manier wat hierdie departement kan voldoen aan al die verwagtinge nie. Nie elke biblioteek, nie elke skool, nie elke sportgeleentheid nie. Dis fisies nie moontlik nie. Wat die departement kan doen is to enable, to create a framework, but it's also up to communities to take responsibility themselves. It's not for the state possible to just deliver in each and every instance. It will not be possible. We don't have the funds. It cannot be done. But communities must take also responsibility for themselves in that regard. Ek wil ten slotte vir die minister sê, en ek wil graag aan hom uitnodiging rig. Ons land is baie divers, baie museums, baie kulture, baie skole, baie sport. En almal is vir ons baie belangrik. Ek wil graag namens my gemeenskap die minister uitnooi, baie vriendelik, om saam met my 'n besoek af te lê in Pretoria by die Voortrekker Monument, wat in my familie, in my geskiedenis, in my kultuur, my volk 'n baie belangrike simboliese rol speel. En ek sal graag met die minister daaroor wil skakel, en as die regte tyd en die regte geleentheid daar is, om graag wil gaan wys wat vir my ook belangrik is en vir ons gemeenskap belangrik is, en ek is seker die minister sal graag daarvan gebruik maak. Ek wil sê baie sterkte vir die minister, ek dink dit is 'n baie uitdagende departement, maar die minister het reeds daarin geslaag op sy unieke manier om alreeds in te kruip in die harte van mense, en dit is waaroor politiek gaan. Jy werk met mense. Baie sterkte meneer die minister, baie sterkte vir die departement. Ons sal graag hierdie departement se begroting ondersteun. Baie dankie.
The following speaker is from the ACDP. Any person in the house to speak from the ACDP? The UDM? Okay. Dr. Mithlapi. Yes. Then we're going to Action SA, Dr. Mithlapi.
Thank you to the Chair, Honourable Minister, Deputy Minister, the DG, if present, and the Chair of the Committee. Sadly for some of us, culture is an important aspect of society, and it should build a safe society. But sadly in South Africa, culture kills too. I'm a medical doctor, and we're in a season of people going to from circumcision on a cultural basis. And we still see young men lose their lives. Young men become mutilated by a cultural practice. And I hope, Minister, you'll play a role in ensuring that not a single young man dies from going to a cultural school. That any death that arises from there should be a subject of an inquest. And all mortality and morbidity associated with those schools should be fully and properly investigated. We also have a culture that promotes GBV and femicide. Culture kills in this country. Culture disrespects women, children, and people with disabilities. And we need to ensure that that is changed. I lost my daughter 6 weeks ago to an emerging sport in South Africa called femicide. And we need to ensure that the cultural practices that ferment and promote that type of sport are dealt with. When people go to cultural schools, they should come up as loving, caring human beings that take responsibility seriously. But when our boys come from the mountains, they become belligerent. They disrespect women. They are disrespectful in society. We need to know what happens in those schools. They need to be transparent. They need to be open. They should not be breeding grounds for animals. They should be breeding grounds for young men that will become proper citizens, so that our girl children have plenty good potential partners to choose from. I hear the issue about sports in schools, and that's important. But you'll see a pattern, Minister, where in private schools, weekend sports also continues in the school. In our communities, weekend sport is in the community, but there are no facilities in the community. Our teachers are so overburdened. Most of our schools in the township don't have sports masters that can take over on the sporting activities in the afternoon. They still have to do it. So our children need to go home. We need to ensure in our communities there are facilities for children to play. That in our communities, social clubs, ballroom dancing, all those clubs come back so that our children can be occupied with positive activities, Minister. We in Action SA are ready for action to help you, Minister, to fix South Africa. We support the budget, but it cannot be business as usual and mourning. We should stand up, love our children, protect our women, and raise our boys to be good men. Let culture have a positive influence on our society and not a negative influence. I thank you, Minister.
The next speaker is the Honourable Deputy Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Honourable Gayton McKenzie, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honourable Joe, Honourable members, the Acting Director General of the Department, Ms. Stella Khumalo, and her executive representatives of the various sporting arts and cultural bodies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Honourable House Chair, this department, like many others, we carry the joint responsibility under the banner of the Government of National Unity to steer our sports, arts and culture sectors towards creating a truly non-racial, non-sexist, prosperous, and united South Africa. Our mandate, our immediate priority is the development and substance of the various sports, arts, discipline, and cultural offerings that represent and bears evidence to us being a country united in our diversity. Over the last 30 years, we have seen commendable progress in promotion of inclusiveness and transformation in sports, in the promotion of the arts across racial lines, and in the recognition of our diverse cultural groups and beliefs. South Africa has truly shown that we are a melting pot of talent, and that despite our justified exclusion and isolation from the global stages during apartheid era, our abilities and talents have persevered. The South Africa we preside over today is one recognized across the globe in the arts, in sports, in cultural diversity. We are worthy torchbearers and a host nation of many international award-winning sportsmen and women, artists, musicians, productions, and many more. We are indeed a country and a department that is inspiring a nation of winners. House Chair, 5 years ago today, our country lost one of its most revered sons, a cultural activist, a rebel, an epitome of our country's cultural diversity, an unconventional songwriter and anthropologist, a recipient of the National Order of Ikamanga, the legendary and late Johnny Clegg. We would all agree that Johnny Clegg in many ways represented a truly South African contradiction and spirit, a white male who at the height of apartheid grew to become a renowned musician and a performer of maskandi, a predominantly Zulu musical genre that is celebrated worldwide. Honorable Chair, I wish to share with you a verse of one of his famous songs, Love in the Time of Gaza. These are my father's people. This is where the human tree once grew. We are the children of a new world. We have a new dream pushing through. House Chairperson, the Government of National Unity signals a new dream pushing through, a moment imposed on all of us by the electorate. A new world where the achievements of the last 30 years are the foundation upon which we build and accelerate our programs to extend opportunities, promote inclusiveness, and consolidate ground-roots development in sports, arts, and culture. Honorable Chair, ahead of us lies a busy sporting year, a year wherein Team South Africa will be proudly flying our flag when they compete in the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games, which will take place in Paris. The department has, in this financial year, increased the ring-fence municipal infrastructure grant for sports infrastructure allocation from 252 million for this current 2023-24 current financial year to 452 million for the 2024-2025 financial year. This has allowed us to increase the number of infrastructure projects from 20 in 2023-2024 financial year to 52 projects in 2024-2025 financial year. Honorable Chair, as a start, about 100 young people certified as fitness instructors will also be engaged through a national youth service program to coordinate communities and engage them in physical activity using these facilities, and a budget will be available to offer a stipend for their services. As a government, the creation of equality in sport is a major priority. We are unequivocal that
the days of discrimination against women's sports on pay and allocation of resources must be a thing of the past. Support to Banyana Banyana women's cricket and women's boxing, amongst others, must be improved as a transformation imperative, and to acknowledge the achievements of these sporting codes both on the continent and internationally. Netball is also a sport that finds resonance, particularly with African women, and continues to enjoy popular support across the country. However, the investment by government in the sport neither matches the growing interest in the sport nor the success realized over the last years. Honorable Chair, a research-focused approach must be readopted to focus on heritage museums, heritage sites, archives, for purposes of policy development and guidelines. In striving for this, a partnership with institutions of higher learning and like-minded institutions, nationally and international, should be established, and the department must continue to collaborate and support heritage education in communities and schools. A policy on basic salary and compensation of artists in South Africa must be investigated and legislated as a matter of priority, like in the self-determination of the labor segment that government has considered and continues to consider in the labor market. Honorable Chairperson, municipalities must make space in the civic and multi-purpose community centers where artists can display their work and make it accessible to members of the public and tourists to see and to buy as part of supporting the local economy. The department has a mandate, Honorable Chair, to transform the national heritage landscape of South Africa to be inclusive by developing new monuments and heritage sites to preserve, to protect, and to promote our heritage for current and future generations, and to remind ourselves where we come from. House Chair, as the department and under the leadership of Minister McKenzie, we have adopted a practical approach to revive critical programs within the department to champion courses that will open the space for more sporting codes, art disciplines, and cultural activities to enter the terrain and be provided with the consistent and sustainable support. We are resolute to revive school sports and to ensure that each child in school is a child in sport, in the arts, or in a cultural activity that has the potential to be nourished and to contribute to the growth and development of our country. House Chair, honorable members, I hereby commend this budget vote 37 to the Honorable House for approval. I thank you.
Is there any member of RISE in the House? Bossa? ATM? Then the next speaker is the Honorable M.L. Rosani from the ANC.
Thank you, House Chair, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen. The department committed to developing, transforming, preserving, protecting and promoting sports, arts and culture at all levels to foster an active, successful, creative and socially cohesive nation. In support of this mission, the department will focus on promoting social cohesion and nation building, creating job opportunities for economic growth, developing and promoting sports and recreation, transforming and enhancing capacity in the sports, arts and culture sector, and preserving heritage assets. As the African National Congress, we stand in full support of the department's endeavors. Honorable members, it is imperative that the department focus on implementing transformation initiatives in schools to enhance sports, arts, and cultural activities. This will help level the playing fields for studies and pave the way for a future in sport that is free from racial and gender-based discrimination. It is essential for the department to oversee the effective distribution of the allocated 78.4 million, which will be utilized to provide sports equipment and attire to schools, hubs, and clubs, thereby enabling widespread participation in sports and recreational activities across all provinces and regions. The department has earmarked 56.8 million to support the development of young people in facilitating 90 school sports leagues at the district level. Additionally, 80.9 million will be allocated to provide opportunities for 4,000 young individuals to demonstrate their skills at prestigious levels like the National School Sports Championships. It is our commitment to closely monitor and ensure that equal opportunities for participation are made available at all. During the State of the Nation address, the President has emphasized on the importance of having initiatives in support of a GBV-free society. The department during 2024-2025 financial period has planned to focus on GBVF programs in sport that are driven through partnership with the department's stakeholders such as Love Life and Sports for Social Change Network. Promoting personal being, which encompasses perceptions of personal safety and crime victimization, is crucial for fostering social cohesion. Therefore, it is imperative to champion initiatives aimed at combating gender-based violence and femicide. The Department of Social Development extends its support to a range of initiatives across all 4 of its programs, with a particular focus of combating GBVF. 2 notable initiatives supported by the DEC as Hooligan Program, which addresses suicidal issues and provides a platform for men to actively contribute to addressing these challenges, as well as Ngoba GBV campaign. The latter seeks to raise awareness and offer tangible solutions to combat gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, and femicide in South Africa. In every sector, the creation of employment opportunities for young people is key priority for economic growth. Our department has been able to ensure that it nurtures intents to help young people access employment. Infrastructure, capital working projects like sports facilities, theaters, heritage facilities, and libraries provide job opportunities for young people, even those who are unskilled. However, the departments must make deliberate efforts to work with sectors like higher education and training to acquire the necessary skills for the sector. As the African National Congress, we provide unwavering support for the budget. I thank you.
Honorable Advocate Sali from Al Jamai.
Honourable Chair, Honourable Ministers, Honourable Members and all esteemed guests and staff, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of Al Jamaa, we wish to pay our respects to a fallen hero in the sports arena, the late Mr. Frank van der Horst, who passed away on the 8th of July 2024. The former president of SACUS passed away, and he was the anti-apartheid sports body who fought against the apartheid system under the banner, "No normal sports in an abnormal society." People such as Frank van der Horst fought hard for marginalized children to have equal access to sports and for decent sports facilities. The radical transformation in sport remains sorely lacking after 30 years of democracy, and yet has to filter through to the children who need it the most in the most marginalized of areas, rural areas and townships. Sports at schools level is important and should be prioritized at the most marginalized schools who lacks proper infrastructures, equipment and coaches. The role of communities in school sports should be incorporated. The sister portfolio committees such as social development and education should be encouraged to work across borders to nurture and motivate the youth through sports, arts and culture and to ensure success. Majority of the previously disadvantaged population are marginalized from ever excelling in sports progress. We must push for radical reforms so that every player, male, female, able, disabled from especially poor areas, are not denied the right to play or compete, whether it be in sports or arts, in tournaments on all levels. Champions and coaches from marginalized communities must be encouraged to pressurize government for sustained transformation that will completely unshackle the legacy of an apartheid control over sport. The corporate world should be encouraged to increase in assisting struggling sports clubs and athletes, as it appears they tend to give overwhelming support to wealthy clubs and athletes and people of rich communities. This mindset of corruption and gatekeeping in sports is causing much harm to communities, and many of our youth have fallen through the cracks to gangsterism, drugs and crime. We must let go of the economic barriers in sports and arts, which only breeds prejudice and privilege. We have to work towards a prosperous and united democratic nation where talent is valued and culture is preserved. The budget should be aimed at developing our youth through the sports and arts at the most marginalized areas, and include modern and fully equipped sports arts facilities to establish good sports arts development on all levels. With regard to the budget will be supported as long as we ensure that our youth and the most marginalized is catered.
Anybody from the NCC? The PAC? UIT?
We can take their space.
I see nobody from Good is here, so the next member, this next speaker is Honorable L.C. Jacobs from the DA, and it is his maiden speech.
Honorable Chairperson, South Africa is one of the most talented, diverse, creative and innovative nations in the world. We are a nation whose success and resilience are on display for the entire international community to bear witness to. Whether it is Tyler winning a Grammy and 2 BET Awards, or Banyana winning the African Cup of Nations in 2022, be it the fearsome and formidable World Cup winning Springboks, or a certain UFC champion who will retain his title on the 17th of August, the man who says, "Hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie, Driekus du Plessis." The strength and creativity of our nation remains a global force to be reckoned with. Honorable Chairperson, these successes would not have been possible without hardworking, talented, and self-starting and self-determined South Africans who represent our nation with such pride and dedication on the international stage. The budget for sports, arts, and culture has its merits, to be sure, but it also has the very real potential to leave this integral sector with reduced budgets and a limited capacity to build a nation of winners that belongs to all South Africans. Agbare voorsitter, om hierdie begroting se volle potensiaal te bereik, wil ek graag vir u vertel van 'n persoonlike ervaring wat ek gehad het terwyl ek die World Cup gekyk het by die Universiteit van Pretoria. Daai aand het dit baie gereën. Dit het behoorlik getap. But I think the honorable member of the EFF who spoke here would love to know about what happened before the game. Before the game, I watched as hundreds of students sang the whole national anthem at the top of their lungs. As the final whistle went, I watched as hundreds of young South Africans celebrated by hugging and kissing each other, and while waiting for the trophy to be lifted, we were enjoying South Africa's very own Amapiano music. And while fireworks were being launched in Paris, the streets of Hatfield were filled with hooting cars and raucous celebration until the early hours of the morning. Honorable Chairperson, This single event sums up the power of this department to bring South Africans together en dit het vir my gewys hoe ons musiek en ons kuns wel ons musiek en ons kuns is. It shows how sport has always brought young South Africans together, and it demonstrates how our anthem alone has the ability to bind our nation together. En dit is hoekom hierdie begroting so belangrik is. But this budget is also a budget that cuts 21 million rand from cultural and creative industries development. It cuts 7 million from social cohesion and nation building, and 29 million from the National Film and Video Foundation, and 192 million rand from the National Arts Council. Honorable Chairperson, with these huge amounts of money being taken away from projects which contribute to the better cohesion of our people and the expression of our people's creativity, this budget might not do justice to the Republic of South Africa. While it concentrates on sport and does the discipline justice, it tends to neglect the critical role played by arts and culture. And there's no better example of this than the COVID Relief Fund, where 300 million was allocated and only 72 million rand was actually paid out to artists. Honorable Chairperson, I would like to suggest the following be included in the execution of this budget. We must allocate more resources towards funding our artists, creatives, and cultural events. We must seek new ways of attracting investment by incentivizing the private sector to invest in our sports so that we can unlock more funding for the people of our country. And we must enhance funding for talent development programs. We must also allocate funding to ensure that previously marginalized communities like the Khoi, like the San, and like the Hlubi people have their culture celebrated, their history recognized, and themselves memorialized. Honorable Chairperson, I've said everything I've said today in the name of empowering our athletes, supporting our creatives, and fostering our artists and protecting our heritage. Ek het alles gesê wat ek sopas gesê het in die naam van Ouma Katrina Iso, wie die laaste moelsprekende mens op dese aarde is. I've said everything I've said today in the name of young sports people who are going to lift a World Cup one day, whether they are from Kimberley, Graafrenet, Cape Town, Messina, Cape Town, or Johannesburg. I have said it all in the name of each and every person in this country who loves the Republic of South Africa. Honorable Minister, sports, arts, and culture are all responsible for what makes us proud to be South African. We love South Africa, and we love being South African. I love South Africa, and I love being South African. And I firmly believe that this budget must reflect that in its implementation. I thank you.
The next speaker is Honorable TVB Mchuna from the ANC. Mchuna.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to the Honorable Minister, the Honorable Deputy Minister, and the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and the members at large. The agenda to drive the transformation of arts and culture is crucial for our social and economic empowerment. We have been in a difficult situation as a country. There is in this process to fall back, delaying transformative implementation and development of cultural development for the benefit of social cohesion and priority of building a better nation. It is now more than ever that we are on a stronger path to encourage and support our craft industry, including art practitioners that are dedicated to the arts and culture. The department in its 24-25 financial period must prioritize infrastructure projects that support economic growth in communities and rural areas. The department will lead, coordinate, and implement such programs by providing financial support to 9 provincial community arts development programs by March 2024. As the ANC, we are committed to promoting inclusion as a key priority. We believe that any kind of divisiveness acts as a barrier of creating social harmony for the greater good of our nation. As part of our efforts, we will actively engage the department in implementing targeted initiatives to develop and promote the use of. Can I just respond to one of them? I mean, the issue of the social cohesion and the national anthem. We are South Africans, and we are a diverse community. And we are made of different cultures and different nations, so we need to embrace that. That is why, as the ANC, we subscribe to the Freedom Charter. And one of the clauses in the Freedom Charter, it says, South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white.
Point of order, member.
Can the member take the question?
Honourable member, would you like to take a question? Thank you.
We are one nation, and that is why we still believe in what the first president of the democracy, Nelson Mandela, said: we are a rainbow nation. And the freedom and the one thing that is important.
Just a point of order. Members. Honourable member, please use the microphone in front of you. We can't hear you.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. I'm rising on a point of order. While the Honourable member was just now at the podium, this Honourable member by more than once said more than once.
Chair, I'm not this honourable member. I've got a name. You must call me by my name. I'm not this honourable member. What is this honourable member?
I didn't recognize you on a point of order, honourable member.
The Honourable member said on more than one occasion that the speaker at the podium is lying. That is unparliamentary, and the member should withdraw that remark. Thank you, ma'am.
Honourable member, have you said that the honourable member at the podium is lying?
Can you check on the answers, Chair? I'm not sure.
I will just remind you that no member in this chamber can say that another member is lying. That is unparliamentary. If you said so, will you please withdraw?
Like I said, Chair, I'm not sure if I said it, but can you please check on the answers?
Thank you very much, member. Just make sure that you don't say it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The department aims to bolster human resources and promote excellence in the arts and culture sector by March 2025. This includes providing 140 bursaries annually to university students studying languages and supporting capacity building programs. Additionally, the department plans to establish school-based arts education programs in collaboration with the Department of Basic Education. What does this mean? This budget is pro-poor and biased to the needy communities. The department's dedication to empowering women, youth, and persons with disability is worth of high praise. The plans to revolutionize the arts and culture sector by supporting programs for children, women, older people, and persons with disability, as well as youth-focused initiatives are truly inspiring. The ANC's commitment to fight gender-based violence and femicide sets a powerful example, and any related initiatives from the department will be met with tremendous support. There are plans for empowering through the creation of capacity the heritage sector by awarding 45 heritage bursaries to deserving tertiary students and supporting 15 unemployed heritage bursary graduates through internship. As I am about to conclude, I want us to address also the issue of why do we need to support the budget? and the impact of not supporting the budget. Because if you are not supporting the budget that talks to the indigenous games that are implemented in collaboration with SALGA. Maybe if you are living in another country, then you will not know that there are indigenous games. I've witnessed them, where they play Ingatu, they play 3-tin, all those kinds of games. And where maybe our honorable members need to go and learn more about these activities. And also, not supporting the budget, it means you are not supporting the continuation of those programs. Not supporting the budget, it means you are saying this department and this government must not support all our sporting activities, all our sporting codes. We are saying these sporting codes that are being supported by the department must suffer and not develop the youth to its potential. Not supporting the budget, Honorable Minister, this department supported and is continuing to support, I'm sure you are going to continue to support the women, the youth, and the men in deep rural areas who are making some artifacts called amakutu. It's a very beautiful thing, innovated by the African people, and they are doing it in an indigenous way. So if we don't support this, kushuti labo mama bagwashabisa, they must not be supported. They are from deep rural areas, and they are doing these things. And it's a way of developing the rural economy for our people. So we do support the budget as the ANC because we want to see the changes in the development of our society, and we want to see and emphasize that the upkeep of Isipupu Cultural Arena and Sarah Batman Center of Remembrance in the medium term be endorsed, and we endorse this budget to its transformative potential for our country, as it allows us to stand our history, our current situation, and our future path. So those that are not supporting the budget, they are against the South Africans. And to the South African voters, please be careful. Next time, don't support the political parties that are that you be assisted. Thank you very much.
Member, do you have a point of order? Order, please. Order, please. The Honourable Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. Order, please, members. Members, please give the Minister his chance. Thank you.
I would like to first, honorable members, I would first like to congratulate all the members here that gave their maiden speeches. And I would like to also thank everybody from the different parties that supported the budget. Thank you very much. I want to start with the Honorable Chairperson. I think in your time that you spoke here, you've given us so much work. When you spoke about the center in Bloemfontein, when you spoke about unearthing new talent, new gold, and from our side, I just want to assure you that this department will surely act, investigate, and fix that which you've mentioned, particularly the Transnet School of Excellence, because there's a place called Westbury, where young people die senselessly. And the Transnet School of Excellence managed to take one boy from Westbury, and he became one of the biggest sports persons, Stephen Pinar. And he came from the Transnet School of Excellence. So I will surely look into that. I want to, with permission, I would like to speak lastly what Honorable Fana has said about the STEM being part of the national anthem. So I will not go through the indigenous games. I never thought I'd live in a world where MK, of all parties, vote against indigenous games for our people. I need to mention that because the people, I want to talk about what the IFP said. Babalituli, what you're saying is that we should look into school sport. It's very, very important, and we will definitely do that. We will then, I've got 5 minutes, so I have to go through everything quickly. The Freedom Front Plus, Dr. Corne Mulder, you know, it's true what you're saying, unity in diversity. And I definitely accept your invitation to go with you, to go and see your history. I would like to thank the ANC. The ANC, all the speakers of the ANC, I would like to thank you. You have truly shown that what this GNU should be and can be. Thank you very much. I would like to just talk about a very important issue. Doctor, let me start by giving my condolences once again. I've given it to you previously, but I would just like to repeat it for the loss of your daughter. My deepest and most sincerest condolences, and may God keep your family, may God give you strength. What your family has gone through is what we should make sure no family go through that again. And circumcision schools needs to be investigated. It cannot be that our children are being sent to die. I would also like to, in my last minute and a half, thank the Honorable Jacobs for that fiery speech and for what you've mentioned. But I also need just to rectify one thing you said. The 75 million was the first amount. We have since given out other two interventions of money we've given out that will make up to the 300 million or come very close to it. Then lastly, without fear or any favor, when you take a decision, South Africa has taken a decision that we are one nation under God. And when we've taken that decision, it comes with many contradictions. The STEM is part of who we were and who we've become. You cannot pinpoint some issues. We must protect the national anthem. We have one of the most beautiful national anthems. The meaning to the STEM is being included there it's such an expression of how far we've come as a nation. I sing Nkosi Sikelele, God bless Africa, Sichava Saruna, as hard as I sing Eddie Blow van Onze Yema. We will not be ashamed to say we support this STEM being part of the national anthem. We have moved on. We are one South Africa. You can go to the past. We don't live there anymore. Thank you very much.
You're not recognizing us, Chair. Chair. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I take it's not his maiden speech anymore. Can the Honourable Minister take a question that says if he then accepts the apartheid flag? In the same way that he accepts the STEM.
Yeah. If we will accept the question, you
No,
cannot
ask
raise
him,
your
ask him.
question
There's no
without
problem.
I'll accept the question.
You accept the question. Please ask your question. The time has expired, but ask your question.
I'm asking, so you accept what is called the STEM, which was part of the apartheid regime, which suppressed black people like you and I, right? and people were killed
Honorable
over
member,
this dam.
can you don't,
Right?
honorable member,
Can
please,
you-
raise the question,
Can
cannot
you,
make a
can,
speech.
but can I speak, please, man? No. Can you, Minister, accept this dam or accept the apartheid flag in the same way that you accept this dam? Because the two go together. You raise a flag so that you sing the anthem. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
No, the two goes together in your world, not in the real world. Because in the real world, the old flag does not exist anymore. So this term is part of the national anthem. I will accept it. You see, there's so many amongst you that wants us to still live in the past. We have moved on. You can stay there, but we no longer live there. We will sing the stem.
Thank you, Minister. Your time is...
Hey, this GNU is powerful, man.
Members? Order, please. Members are reminded that two debates are scheduled simultaneously for 2 o'clock. Can I have order, please? Honourable member, can I have order, please? Order, please. Member, if you really want to speak, make sure that your name is added on the speakers list. Then you can speak. Members are reminded that two debates are scheduled simultaneously for 2 o'clock today. The Higher Education and Training Budget debate will be held in the Goodhope Centre chamber, while the Public Works and Infrastructure Budget debate will take place in the committee room M46. That concludes the debate and the business for this mini-plenary session. The mini-plenary will now rise.